I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories: Israel shatters Gaza ceasefire, killing more than 400 Palestinians. And PM slams Israeli airstrike, condemns killing of aid workers in Gaza. At least 404 Palestinians have been killed and 562 wounded after Israel launched a massive assault on Gaza on Tuesday, shattering the fragile two-month-old ceasefire with Hamas. The attacks took place across Gaza, including in Khan Yunis, Rafah, Gaza City and Deir el-Balah. According to Gaza's health ministry, 404 martyrs and 562 injuries arrived at Gaza Strip hospitals so far, adding that a number of victims are still under the rubble. Officials said many of those killed in the attacks were children. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he ordered the strikes because of a lack of progress in talks to extend the ceasefire and that the operation was open-ended and expected to expand. Meanwhile, Hamas warned that Israel's new airstrikes breach their ceasefire and put the fate of hostages in jeopardy. They also called on people in Arab and Islamic nations, along with the free people of the world, to take to the streets to protest the assault. The surprise attack shattered a period of relative calm during the holy month of Ramadan and raised the prospect of a full return to fighting in a 17-month war that has killed tens of thousands of Palestinians and caused widespread destruction across Gaza. As Israel's launch of massive waves of airstrikes on Gaza shattered the fragile two-month ceasefire with Hamas, dozens of countries around the world have come to condemn the regime. Hamas said it viewed Israel's attacks as a unilateral cancellation of the ceasefire that began on January 19. In a statement, the group said that Netanyahu's decision to resume war was a decision to sacrifice the occupation's prisoners and impose a death sentence on them. Meanwhile, the Office of the UN Human Rights Chief said he was horrified by the Israeli strikes on Gaza.
We are horrified by last night's Israeli airstrikes and shelling in Gaza, which killed hundreds, according to the Ministry of Health in the Strip. This will add tragedy onto the tragedy. The last 18 months of violence have made abundantly clear that there is no military path out of this crisis. The only way forward is a political settlement in line with international law.
Elsewhere, Egypt, one of the mediators in the ceasefire deal agreed in January between Israel and Hamas, also called for restraint and urged all parties to work towards a lasting agreement, while the Kremlin said it was concerned by what it called a large number of civilian casualties after Israel struck Gaza. Meanwhile, the Israeli army has threatened residents of several areas in Gaza on Tuesday to evacuate immediately after launching their wave of deadly attacks. The Zionist regime issued the forced evacuation orders targeting the neighborhoods of Beit Hanun, Kirbet Kuza'a, Abbasan al-Kabira and Abbasan al-Jadida.
والله ما عرفنا ننام ولا شفنا النوم بعينينا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل عليهم اللي هي منهم لا تغفل عنهم ان شاء الله.
انت العالم كله ظالم. هيهم اطفال وهذا طفله صغيره بنت. هيهم
الحياة يعني كل منها في صعوبة وفيش يعني زي ما بيقولوا تهدى وقف اطلاق نار. يعني أنا بسكن في المنطقة الشرقية من مدينة دير البلح، يوميا اللي هو القناصة على قبال المواطنين، قصف مستمر، يعني أشياء يعني بنقول يعني ما فيش من المتفق عليه، فيش أي شيء اتفقوا عليه تم اللي هو إيش يعني إنهم عملوه أو مثلا يعني نفذوه.
In a related development, Malaysia strongly condemns Israel's ongoing violence in Gaza. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim stated that Malaysia denounces the latest atrocities committed by the Zionist regime, which also claimed the lives of 8 humanitarian workers from the Malaysian Consultative Council of Islamic Organizations, MAPIM. All of the 8 workers were killed in an Israeli airstrike at 1:30 p.m. local time in northern Gaza last Saturday. The victims were Mahmoud Yahya al-Sarraj, Bilal Hossam Quila, Mahmoud Samir Oselim, Mahmoud Khaled Oselim, Muhammad al-Ghafer, Hazim Garib, Bilal Abu Mata, and Ahmad Hamad. The attack occurred while all the Palestinian aid workers were setting up tents to shelter families who had lost their homes due to the ongoing assault by the Zionist regime.
Kita mengutuk keras pembunuhan dan kezaliman ke atas sukarelawan MAPIM yang bertugas untuk kemanusiaan, membantu pesakit dan sebagainya. Dan kerajaan secara rasmi mengeluarkan bantahan keras terhadap keganasan berterusan.
Anwar said this to reporters after chairing a special Pulau Pinang State Development meeting in Bayan Lepas on Tuesday. On Monday, MAPIM confirmed that 3 of the aid workers martyred in the incident in Beit Lahia were media personnel involved in the humanitarian mission. Now, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahir Hamidi also commented on the killing of the MAPIM aid workers. He also urged the international community not to remain silent in the face of the Zionist regime's ongoing atrocities in Gaza. In a Facebook post, Zahir expressed his deep sorrow over the passing of the aid workers. He also described the aid workers as humanitarian heroes who fought tirelessly to aid the oppressed people of Palestine. He added that their passing is a great loss not only to MAPIM but also to the entire community advocating for justice and humanity. For geostrategist Professor Azmi Hassan, the latest attack in Gaza clearly proves Israel's true intentions, that they do not seek peace, but instead resort to war as a means to achieve their objectives.
Well, the justification used by Benjamin Netanyahu to strike Gaza is that Hamas refused to release all the remaining hostages as demanded by President Trump a few weeks ago. But there was no agreement for Hamas to release. It was demanded by United States in this case. What Hamas wanted was the progress of the first phase of the ceasefire move to the second phase, which requires Hamas, yes, to release all the hostages, plus the full withdrawal of Israel forces from Gaza. So this is just a pretext from Israel not to withdraw from Gaza, and has the backing, full backing, green light was given by the United States. So we can know who is the real culprit here when Netanyahu is using all the excuses to get rid of Hamas. But again, as we have seen, the civilian suffers. The casualty is the majority is the civilian of the Gaza people.
Meanwhile, Malaysia is ready to receive 15 Palestinian fighters who were taken as prisoners of war by Israel. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Mohamad Hassan said this commitment is in line with the ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Mohamad noted that Malaysia had been supporting the Palestinian struggle for decades, and this was one of the ways it intended to help. He added that the move to take in the 15 Palestinian prisoners, followed by Malaysia's participation in the Gaza ceasefire process, an initiative led by the governments of Qatar, Egypt and the United States.
Mereka tak boleh balik ke Gaza. Jadi kita kena buat cara untuk kita membagi-bagikan antara sesama negara anggota OIC untuk kita bawa balik ke negeri masing-masing, dan kita mampu dapat 15 orang, tak apalah.
A Malaysia Airlines flight MH720 made an emergency landing at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA, on Tuesday evening following a cargo fire alert. The aircraft, carrying 115 passengers and 7 crew members from Jakarta to Kuala Lumpur, landed safely at 6:18 p.m. The airline, in a statement, said that the crew on board the flight promptly executed standard safety procedures upon detecting the alert. The Boeing 737-800 was directed to a remote bay where all passengers and crew safely disembarked. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim and Raja Permaisuri Agong Raja Zahir Sofia have extended their Nuzul Al-Quran greetings to all Muslims in the country. Their Majesty's message was conveyed through a poster shared on the official Facebook page of Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar. The poster also featured a translation of verse 185 from Surah Al-Baqarah, which recounts the night the Quran was revealed as a guide for all of humanity. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, in a posting on his Facebook account, urged Muslims to reflect on the significance of Nuzul Al-Quran as a guide to building a life based on knowledge and piety. He also reminded that the first revelation, Iqra, given to Prophet Muhammad in the cave of Hira, marked the beginning of an era founded on knowledge, alleviating human dignity through justice and compassion. He further emphasized the importance of Muslims continuing to contemplate the Quran with sincerity and striving for Allah's forgiveness. Several states in peninsular Malaysia reportedly felt tremors after an earthquake struck Indonesia on Tuesday. The incident occurred at 6:22 a.m. off the west coast of North Sumatra. The Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, confirmed the incident in a statement posted on its social media account. It was reported that the earthquake's epicenter was at a depth of 109 kilometers. However, the earthquake poses no tsunami threat to Malaysia. Met Malaysia also stated that the 5.1 magnitude earthquake was felt across several states including Perlis, Kedah, Pulau Pinang, Perak and Selangor. Residents in Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, along with those in Negeri Sembilan, Melaka and Johor, also felt the tremor. Meanwhile, social media platforms were abuzz with Malaysians sharing their experiences. Many, especially those living in high-rise buildings, reported feeling a slight tremor, some lasting up to 10 seconds. Some even evacuated their homes. A user on the X app also shared an 8-second video clip showing a ceiling fan and lights in their room swaying. The account owner at Shim Sheri said they felt a strong tremor as if being shaken, but only managed to record the video after the shaking had subsided. Former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob's session with the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC, originally set for Tuesday, has been rescheduled to Wednesday. The Beara Member of Parliament was supposed to have his statement recorded for the 5th time, but the session was postponed. The matter was conveyed by an MACC source to media personnel who had been waiting at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya since 8 a.m. The source, however, did not state the reason for the postponement. Ismail Sabri was scheduled to provide his statement at 10 a.m. to assist in the investigation into the corruption and money laundering cases linked to him. On Monday, he left the anti-graft agency's building after being questioned for 7 hours. On March 3rd, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki revealed that the former UMNO Vice President was a suspect in an ongoing investigation into a corruption and money laundering case. The revelation came after a series of raids on 3 premises, including a safe house in Kuala Lumpur, which led to the discovery of cash in various currencies and gold bars totaling 177 million ringgit. The investigation is being conducted under the MACC Act and the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act. In Perak, a father and son were burned to death in a fiery crash on the North-South Expressway near the Tapah Rest and Service area heading northbound on Tuesday. The incident occurred at around 7:30 a.m. when a sand-laden trailer collided into the rear of another trailer transporting cotton.
Lori ni boleh mari tepuh belakang macam gitu, laju dah mari.
According to Acting Tapa Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Muhammad Fadzil Ismail, the accident is believed to have occurred when the sand-laden trailer failed to avoid the cotton-laden trailer which had stopped in the emergency lane before bursting into flames. The driver of the first trailer, 45-year-old Abdul Aziz Shafi, was found burned to death inside the vehicle, while his 23-year-old son, Muhammad Alif Hakimi, who was also his attendant, was discovered trapped under the truck's cab, also burned to death. The bodies of both victims were sent to the Tapa Hospital Forensic Unit for post-mortem. The driver of the other trailer escaped the crash unharmed. The incident is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. Elsewhere in Negeri Sembilan, a lorry driver and his attendant were killed early Tuesday morning when their vehicle crashed near Senawang. In the 2 a.m. incident, both victims, aged 32 and 39, died on the spot due to severe head injuries. Rembau Deputy Police Chief, Deputy Superintendent Azmi Ali, said the lorry, which was travelling from Malacca to Senawang, is believed to have lost control before it veered to the left side of the road and overturning in the emergency lane. The victims' bodies were then taken to the forensic unit of Rembau Hospital for post-mortem. The cause of the crash is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. Still in Negeri Sembilan, police raids on a factory in Seremban last Thursday uncovered an illegal drug processing laboratory. The operation also led to the seizure of over 274 kilograms of various drugs valued at 38.9 million ringgit, the largest drug bust in the state in the past 5 years. The first raid, conducted at 6:30 p.m, involved the factory located at the Jalan Tun Dr. Ismail Light Industrial Area. Authorities seized various drugs worth over 239,000 ringgit, as well as 63 machines suspected to be used for drug processing. During the operation, a 52-year-old local man, believed to be a caretaker for the premises and the drug syndicate member, was also arrested. The suspect then led police to 3 homestays used to store drugs by the syndicate in Taman Sri Pahang, Taman Bidara and Taman Bukit Kaya.
Modus operandi sindiket ini adalah dipercayai menjadikan kilang sebagai tempat pemprosesan dadah, dan rumah-rumah yang saya nyatakan tadi adalah jenis homestay yang digunakan sebagai stor simpanan dadah sebelum diedarkan di seluruh kawasan ataupun pasaran tempatan.
Among the drugs seized during the raids were ketamine, heroin, methamphetamine, ecstasy powder, ecstasy pills, aramine 5 pills and cannabis. The suspect has been remanded for 7 days until Friday to assist in the investigation. Police are also actively tracking down the remaining members of the syndicate. Meanwhile, Johor Police have busted an international drug syndicate after dismantling 3 drug labs and uncovering a factory used to store various drugs and chemicals in a series of raids in Iskandar Putri and Sri Alam between March 6 and 11. During the operation, authorities arrested 7 individuals and seized drugs worth 12.9 million ringgit. According to State Police Chief Dato' M. Kumar, the suspects comprise 5 locals and 2 Taiwanese nationals aged between 25 and 40.
Modus operandi kumpulan ini adalah menjadikan kawasan perumahan gated guarded sebagai tempat makmal. Manakala kilang itu berada di tempat yang lain.
The raids resulted in the seizure of 42.5 kilograms of FDMA powder worth 7.09 million ringgit and 182.8 kilograms of shabu valued at 5.84 million ringgit, along with equipment and chemicals used for drug production. Police also seized 3 luxury cars, a lorry, jewellery and frozen 3 bank accounts, bringing the total estimated value of seizures to over 14.4 million ringgit. The syndicate, believed to have been operating since July last year, had established its first lab months earlier, refining a large-scale distribution network with the potential to supply international markets. The police are still tracing the source of the syndicate's drug-making expertise and are actively hunting down the remaining members. All suspects have been remanded until Thursday to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Tigray misses chance to seal top spot. Sports after this breather.
Tanyalah Ustaz minggu ini, Isnin 17 Mac, calon ahli syurga. Selasa 18 Mac, khatam, tartil dan tadabbur. Rabu 19 Mac, peristiwa Al-Ifki. Khamis 20 Mac, matematik zakat dan fidyah. Jumaat 21 Mac, fasiliti masjid dan iktikaf. Sabtu 22 Mac, Al-Quran dan sedekah. Tanyalah Ustaz, biar tahu jangan keliru di TV3 dan TV9, stream juga melalui Tonton.
Kita taat kepada Allah, kita patuh atas segala perintah Allah, itulah sebenarnya ibadah. Kata Nabi SAW, luruskan saf-saf kamu kerana ia merupakan kesempurnaan solat. Semoga kita semua dikurniakan oleh Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala malam Lailatul Qadar. Saksikan Al-Kuliah Ramadan ini hanya di TV3.
Sihat tapi sedap. Bersama Chef Anis Nabilah, tak perlu pilih. Boleh dapat dua-dua sekali.
I nak share resepi tu, tapi yang sihat. Kita menggunakan minyak zaitun dan kita masak dalam air fryer.
Cakap je nak resepi apa? Oriental, Western, dessert, semuanya ada. Resepi hebat, rasa nikmat, badan sihat dengan menu sihat Ramadan. Setiap Sabtu 12.30 tengah hari. Indahkan memori Ramadan di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Kes yang selama ini kita dengar,
Dia bunuh anak kita. Campak pula tepi jalan.
kini dirungkai satu persatu.
Dia pujuk untuk kembali tidak diterima. Aku dah tenang kau.
Daripada polis yang menyiasat,
dia cuba nak larikan diri tapi terkena juga dia.
Wartawan yang membongkar dan pakar forensik yang menganalisis. Fail Mahkamah ada jawapannya. Setiap Rabu 9 malam. Indahkan memori Ramadan di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports football. A new era officially began for Harimau Malaya as head coach Peter Klemovsky led his first training session ahead of their 2027 AFC Asian Cup qualifier against Nepal on March 25th. Speaking on the first day of camp, Klemovsky outlined his expectations, insisting he wants his players to play with pace, aggression and attacking intent. The coach made it clear he's selecting players who fit his philosophy.
I look at selecting Malaysian players that have the right profile for my football. In my football, I want to be attacking, I want to be aggressive, I want to play football with the ball, and we want to try and score as many goals as possible. We be strong defensively, and if you look at Nacho, he's one of many players that can connect to being a strong team.
The Australian also addressed the hotly debated issue of overseas-based Malaysians, making his stance crystal clear that they are also Malaysians with Malaysian blood. Malaysia has been drawn into Group F, and only the group winners will secure a spot in the 2027 AFC Asian Cup. Still on football, the Argentine Primera Division, Tigre missed the chance to move to the top of the standings after suffering a 1-2 defeat at home to Central Cordoba on Monday. Elfio Oviedo gave the hosts the lead by taking advantage of a deflection to slot home from close range in the 72nd minute. Stunned, the visitors equalized 8 minutes later when Gaston Veron converted from the penalty spot after Lorenzo Scipioni handled in the area. The visitors struck a 91st minute winner through Leonardo Heredia to deny Tigre the opportunity to leapfrog Boca Juniors at the top of the standings. As a result, Tigre remain in second place with 21 points, while Cordoba move up to sixth place with 17 points. Moving on to golf, the 2025 Players' Championship. Rory McIlroy stormed to his second title of the tournament after outlasting JJ Spaun in a Monday playoff that featured 3 dynamic playoff holes at the TPC Sawgrass. McIlroy turned a 4-shot deficit into a 3-stroke lead during a dramatic final round on Sunday, where thunderstorms forced the 4-hour weather delay, only to stutter along the closing stretch and finish on 12 under alongside Spaun. A lack of daylight forced the PGA Tour's flagship event into a 5th day, leaving McIlroy and Spaun returning for a 3-hole playoff, where the Northern Irishman took control and cruised to victory. 1 birdie and 2 bogeys across the 3-hole stretch were enough for a 1-shot victory over Spaun, who saw his hopes ended with a triple bogey on the 17th. McIlroy's victory is his second at the Players, 6 years to the day since his 2019 success, earning him the $4.5 million first prize. Yemeni Houthis launched 3rd attack on US warships. The details when Nightline returns.
Yang? Oh, Yang.
Apa yang ni?
Oh, nak gurau sikit pun nak terasa. Ni nak bagi tahulah, untuk Sembang Sahur hari Rabu ni, kita nak membincangkan mengenai topik hikmah berkasih sayang.
Oh, dan hari Khamis pula kita akan bincangkan tentang nafsu yang tidak pernah kenyang.
Okey, jadi untuk anda jangan lupa menyaksikan Sembang Sahur Rabu dan juga Khamis 11 malam di TV3.
Anda juga boleh stream melalui Tonton.
Wanita hari ini. Wanita 19-20 ya nak. Tutak 2 minggu lagi nak raya.
Alamak, duit raya dah standby ke tu?
Bukan duit raya je. Kuih raya dah belum untuk mak mentua.
Nanti kami kongsikan resepi kuih raya.
Penting untuk tahu adab bahaya raya.
Ini sangat-sangat penting untuk kita didik anak-anak kita.
Kebaikan berkongsi rezeki.
Marilah kita bantu mereka yang memerlukan.
Semuanya di WSH TV3.
Dan stream sekarang ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Tidak ada yang paling hampir seorang hamba dengan yang maha pencipta, iaitu Allah, ketika mana dia dalam keadaan sujud. Itulah keadaan yang paling hampir kita dengan Allah. Saksikan Tanyalah Ustaz dari Muslim, siaran Jumaat 21 Mac, jam 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Menjernihkan kekeliruan dalam isu-isu agama berlandaskan Al-Quran dan Hadis, memahami istilah, mendalami hikmah.
Bila kita merapatkan saf, kita menunjukkan kesatuan dan persaudaraan.
Membimbing kita menuju malam 1000 makna.
Telah difardukan ke atas kamu semua berpuasa.
Al-Kuliah, ilmu dihayati, Ramadan diberkati, setiap Khamis 4.30 petang. Indahkan memori Ramadan di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. The Yemeni Houthi group on Tuesday said it attacked the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier in the Red Sea, the 3rd such attack in 48 hours. A Houthi military spokesman said his group also targeted a U.S. destroyer in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes on Yemen and warned that continuing U.S. airstrikes on Yemen negatively impact international maritime navigation. Earlier, Washington launched a fresh wave of airstrikes on Yemen on Monday, targeting an iron factory in the coastal province of Al Hudaydah. More than 50 people were killed and nearly 100 others injured in U.S. strikes this weekend, as U.S. President Donald Trump warned that hell will rain down if the Iranian-backed group continues its attacks on Red Sea shipping. Meanwhile, North Korea on Tuesday has condemned the recent U.S. strikes on Yemen as an act violating international law and the country's sovereignty. The North Korean ambassador Ma Dong-hui said Washington indiscriminately targeted civilians and property by mobilizing air and navy forces, including an aircraft carrier. He added that the military attack by the United States is a violent violation of the UN Charter and international law and is a blatant infringement on the territorial sovereignty of another country that cannot be justified by any means. In other news, a plane carrying 17 people crashed into the Honduras Sea late on Monday, killing at least 7 people, while 10 others were pulled out from the wreckage. According to officials, the crash occurred just minutes after the aircraft took off from Roatan Island in Honduras at 6:18 p.m. local time. Fire officials confirmed the death toll, adding that the wreckage was found at about 1 kilometer off the island's coast. The cause of the accident was not immediately clear. However, in a statement, police said the crash could have been caused by an apparent mechanical failure. Before we leave, let's take a look at 80 rare manuscripts of the Quran exhibited in Iraq, including specimens dating back to the 1st century of the Islamic calendar. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah. Thank you for watching, and to our Muslim viewers, Selamat Bersahur.